So we're going to be trying to give a quick overview of what Project Resolve actually was. Now, from the off, despite how grumpy I am typically, I am all for, I've been saying it for a while, they need to stop updating the game and giving us new content and just focus on fixing it. I've alluded to many times when Rainbow Six Siege did Operation Health, where they literally just stopped adding new content and spent months fixing and balancing, however you want to look at balancing, their game to make every option in some way, shape or form viable. It was more about tactics than just going pure OP, which is a great thing. I am absolutely in love with this. You should have seen my reaction during the live stream. I did stream it as well. I was all fucking... I was genuinely happy. However, some of the changes they're making are a bit questionable. So, Project Resolve, comprehensive update for Division 2 aimed at improving player experience and laying the groundwork for future content. Obviously, everything they're saying here isn't final. However, saying that pretty much every single time they've done a large update like this with a PTS, what they put in PTS 1 and then what is released into the game have mostly been like 99% identical, because from what I've seen, they actually genuinely don't really listen to too much of the player feedback. They have this idea in their head and they will do their utmost to stick to that idea, which I kind of think is a very stupid idea, because then we get things like Lengmo. Yeah. So, here is the timetable for Project Resolve. The overall test is going to last for about 2.5 months. So if you want to get on the PTS, which I do recommend, you will have to be on PC. However, I do believe console players have like a option to kind of, I don't know how to word it. It's like a weird account transfer for the PTS of where you log in as your console, but you get given like a blank agent. I'm not sure. They explained it during the live stream, which I do absolutely recommend you watch. Phase 1, December 15th to 18th. You can bet your life I'm going to be recording and streaming and all of the fun stuff during this time period. We're expecting quality of life changes, fixes, balancing, PvP improvements, as well as changes to Descent, Countdown, and Summit. The only thing they actually mentioned about the Summit changes is that they're fucking the XP again, so already not off to a good start. PTS Phase 2, January 19th to January 22nd. They're going to be implementing some changes based on the feedback from Phase 1, Year 5, Season 3, gear and weapon talents. So we're not really going to be able to do too much testing on the gear and weapon talents in Phase 1. We're going to have to wait till January for that. However, it will be nice to see if we can look at some quality of life improvements as well as fixes. But yeah. So, up next in the PVE improvements is going to be the changes they've made to global events. Now, a lot of what I understand of why people, including me, don't play some of the events, I'm a bit weirded out that Reanimated is on here, simply because, personally, it's my favourite one. Golden Bullet, it's fun, but I kind of feel too overpowered. But Reanimated, I kind of feel like is actually an interesting dynamic, as well as kind of, in order to actually play it efficiently, need to be quite skilled or just run determined, which is shit. So, Guardians. The big problem here was whoever the Guardian was would just be always at the back and fuck off and hide. And you can't do anything about it. So you're screwed. So, killing the Angel, I don't know why they called it an Angel, just call it the Guardian. So killing the Guardian, in addition to restoring you to full armor, it will also give 50% of your total armor added to you as bonus armor. It will increase the damage from 30 to 50%. The minions are no longer completely immune, but they'll take 15% of your damage, and the damage buff is increased from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. All of this is great, don't get me wrong, it's nice. However, it's now just made the Guardians event go from being somewhat challenging to being piss easy. However, it doesn't address the fact that that Guardian can still just piss off to the other side of the room and hide. I don't know about you, but whenever I played Guardians, it was always like a controller or one of the lawnmowers from outcasts who just run and hide and then just spam you with a lawnmower, or the drone bitches from Black Tusk. It's always one of them that likes to just piss off and hide. All they had to do to make this viable was to ensure that Guardian or the Guardian didn't fall on one of those types of enemies. Problem solved. Polarity switch. This is one of the ones that's really annoying for me, just because constantly swapping weapons. The idea of how I build is you have a main weapon that's going to be the majority of your DPS and a backup weapon if you run out of ammo, or to proc a buff for your main weapon. So constantly swapping weapons, not a bad idea, adds a new dynamic into the game, but that's also not how 99.9% of the players in the game actually build. So, damaging enemy of a different colour removes polarity stack. Changing to killing an enemy of a different colour removes the polarity stack. I won't lie, I've got no idea what that even means, but it sounds dull. Max stack increased from 5 to 4. I don't know how that's... Max stack is increased from 5 to 4. Do you mean decreased? Damage bonus per stack from 20 to 25. Again, they're just trying to make it easier. I don't think that's the way to go. Killing enemy of the right polarity reloads the player's weapon. That's a nice change. I like that. Hollywood. Triples the explosion range. Brilliant. Triples the explosion damage. Brilliant. Fix the visual VFX. Okay. And then explosions generate signature ammo and grenade at player's location. That was never an issue at all. SHD exposed, 10 times melee damage for the first melee hit after reaching 1000% or 100% exposed. I don't get the point in this just because melee damage scales horribly. So 10 times melee damage is pretty shit. Add like another 0 and then we can start talking. Stacks are acquired 50% faster. I mean, that's not too bad due to the mechanic of SHD exposed. It's all about like being in cover and moving in cover. So that's not too bad. Doubles the pulse radius. I feel like that's a bit of a friggin' stretch. Like, that's just kind of stupid. Players take 65% increased damage instead of 115% increased damage from pulsed enemies. Again, I feel like, why are you making it easier? Non-pulsed enemies still deal pulsed default damage. Now we get to the one that I really don't get. Reanimated is probably one of the easiest global events, and now they're just kind of making it dull. Especially because they've still got determined in the game. So, triples the explosion range, the explosion damage increased by 50%, enemy headshot weakness is increased by 50%. So now we could literally tickle them in the head and they will die. And the explosion damage and range is now massive, which will kill everything else. One thing I do like is they're actually buffing the rewards from projects. I can't recall correctly, but I think they said they're adding exotic components into this, which I suppose in a weird way, especially if it gets added to the daily project, means that you're at least guaranteed one exotic component a day. And it also means that if you do have limited time to play, that logging in and just doing like the daily project, or if you can get the weekly, bloody blah, it is going to be somewhat meaningful. They didn't go into full details, but they did say that they will be buffing these to a point of where you kind of don't want to have to miss them, which I'm absolutely looking forward to. Game modes. This is going to be Descent, Countdown, as well as Summit. One thing they said with Descent, which I'm looking forward to, and it's been my big problem since they added all the new extra talents. I have a certain build that I like to try and play for. Due to the heavily diluted pool of talents, me being actively able to get this build in Descent is near enough impossible. So what they've done now is, within the overall pool, they're kind of taking a select group and it will rotate weekly or monthly. They didn't say how it would rotate, but it's going to be rotating. I imagine it'll be weekly because they can just plug it into the weekly reset, which means every week a talent that you might like is potentially either going to be there or not be there, or there might be something else there to like kind of force different styles of play. However, it also does limit the pool, which is really, realistically for me, the absolute nice touch. Summit fans can anticipate the resolution of the level 100 XP issue. I find this really stupid. I kind of feel like they literally just need to just whack all of the XP into Summit, because Summit is mostly useless. Other than doing like the weekly Summit project, there's no reason to go Summit. Optimizations have been implemented into the 3 modes, Countdown, Descent and Summit, leading to enhanced stability and performance. I've never really had a problem with stability and performance in Descent. Summit seems mostly fine. Countdown is a mess. So yeah, I do agree with this. Expertise, huge changes. They are decreasing the cost of expertising your weapons. And the main one that everyone should be looking at is going to be exotic materials. To go from expertise 21 to 24 is now going to cost you a total of 42 exotics. Obviously, the decrease in field recon data and SHD recalibration is also nice, but depending on your SHD level, you might look at this as a or a The overall decrease in the amount of resources is absolutely amazing. Weapon balancing, gear balancing, I've covered in other videos. These are either going to be absolutely amazing or the worst thing to happen to the game since God knows how long. Because by the looks of it, they're just making everything so much easier, which without the introduction of a new game difficulty is just kind of stupid. There are going to be a lot of new features. One of the ones that they mentioned was the ability to basically do your expertise, optimization and recalibration on the fly in the open world in missions. So if you're a newer player or just wanting to grab things, you can just go, oh look, I need that for my recal bench. You can literally pick it up in a mission or in the open world and smack it straight into your bench from where you are. No need to pick it up and go all the way back. You can just pick it up and do it from your inventory wherever you are in the world. I believe they called it tinkering. Quality of life update. There's quite a bit here. However, the big one, which I imagine a lot of PvP players are going to be looking forward to, is there is now a cap essentially on the watch. Although you can level as much as you want, up to, at the moment, 0 or 1 to level 1000, you get 30 health per level. After that, it was 3 health per level ad infinitum. What they're doing now is from level 1 to level 2000 on your watch, you will be getting plus 30 health, and then it stops, which I believe gives everyone something like 60k or 600k. I think it was 60k. Quick math. 30 times 2000. 60k. There we are. Look at that. So everyone will get a 60k bonus in their health, and then it stops. If you're already at SHD 10,000 or up, this literally, you won't even notice this because it's just, it's actually going to decrease your health if you're over 10,000. But that's essentially where the cap is. Once you hit like 10k is like the end game, but now it's being pushed back to 2k. That covers the PVE side of things. There will be a follow-up video going over conflict and PvP, but give me a minute because I need to try and figure out if I understand it or not. Have fun, good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.